My name is Nana Mensa, and today I am going to be talking about the environmental and health implications of the improper disposal of coal ash. When coal is combusted to generate electricity, the residue that remains is known as coal ash. Coal ash has two main components, fly ash and bottom ash. Coal ash is basically composed of heavy metals such as arsenic, selenium, mercury, lead, etc. It is also composed of dioxins and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. However, the actual composition of coal ash depends on the age and the source of the coal. As an example, lignite and subbit fly ash tends to have less arsenic than bituminous fly ash. When these metals and other components come together and they're in very large amounts, they tend to be very toxic to our environment and to us. That is why its disposal has to be regulated to ensure that it doesn't have negative implications on us. Each year, about 140 billion tons of coal is combusted, which would in turn produce a very large amount of coal ash. Of this amount, only 43% is recycled and used as stuff like concrete and road-based materials. The other 75 million tons is basically disposed off into river bodies or lagoons or coal ash ponds. Now, coal ash ponds have been like a very useful thing for coal power plants. However, some of them do not have the proper lining to ensure that these metals and components do not seep into the soil or into underground water bodies, and some of them do not maintain their facilities. And so, an example would be the Duke Energy. Last year they had a coal ash spill in the river Dan. This is basically because one of their pipelines ruptured and basically exposed their coal ash to the river Dan and to surrounding land, which in turn affected the locals, especially the ones who rely on well water as a source of water. Now I'm going to be talking about what such a spill could do, as basically talking about its environmental and health implications. Environmentally, coal ash, improperly disposed coal ash tends to pollute the water bodies and pollutes the land too. Some of the components of coal ash basically can seep through the soil, which would basically degrade the soil and also make it less useful for agricultural uses. Also, when in river bodies, an element such as selenium tends to be very toxic to aquatic life, and as human beings, we do eat aquatic animals such as fish and crabs and stuff. So that would in turn also affect us. An element like arsenic, when in dry form, which is dry fly ash, tends to be cause a lot of air pollution and it tends to be very hazardous to our internal system, as it would cause lung cancer and related issues such as inhalation problems. It does cause also cardiovascular issues, and in large amounts can cause skin cancer and nervous system damage. So these obviously are very important implications that need to be placed in check. That need to be placed in check. Basically, sorry. So there has to be some regulations, or we would all be exposed to these health effects, and we will also be destroying our environment. The Environmental Protection Agency basically decided to add coal ash disposal to their Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, which basically they had two proposals on how to regulate coal ash disposal. The first one was Subtitle C, where basically there would be a regulation from the production to the disposal of coal ash. The second one, Subtitle D, basically has a minimum criteria for disposal, where only states would actually regulate the disposal and basically they finalized it and chose Subtitle D as the regulatory law for the disposal of coal ash. And although they do supervise it, they also make sure that companies do maintain their facilities and make sure that their linings in their coal ash beds, ponds, sorry, are in place, and to make sure that they do keep records of how many tons of coal ash they make per year, and other such things. Well, this ends my presentation. I hope you learned something interesting today, and thank you.